I didn't want to lose my marriage, so why did I cheat? That question right there. It's one of the most confusing and painful places a man can sit. Because on one hand, you love your wife, right? You never intended to destroy your life. You didn't get up one day and say, I think I'm going to betray her. No, you never planned to cause this level of pain. And yet, you made the choice that directly contradicts everything you say you wanted. So what happened? Well, here's the truth most people don't understand. What you wanted consciously and what your brain was wired to do subconsciously, they were not aligned. And until those two come into agreement, you will keep doing what you don't want to do while wondering why you can't stop. Hey, beautiful. Are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal trauma and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Hey friends, welcome back to the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. If you're here today, there's a good chance you're asking yourself a question that feels heavy, maybe confusing, and honestly, even shame-filled. And I'm talking to the unfaithful. Yes, this episode is for you today. So make sure if you are listening and your spouse is the one who betrayed you, well, share this. Make sure they have this one. It's going to be a great episode for them to lean into. So welcome to you. And I know that you probably have thought this before and said it to yourself. I didn't want to lose my marriage. So why did I do this? Well, if that's you, I want you to hear me clearly from the very beginning. You are responsible for your choices. I know, right? I kind of hit that right out the gate. But your choices did not come out of nowhere. Now, I want you to hang with me so you'll understand what I'm talking about. There is a why behind your behavior. And when you understand that deep-rooted why, you can finally begin to change the how. So today we're going to break this down through truth, neuroscience, and scripture so you can move from confusion into clarity and from shame into transformation. Now, I know you probably said, again, I didn't want to lose my marriage. Why in the world did I cheat? I know that my husband even asked himself that question a lot. Once he woke up from that infidelity bubble, it finally burst. This is the question he started asking himself. He was like, wait a minute, my marriage was good. My wife didn't deserve this. Why did I do this? Well, because what you wanted consciously and what your brain was wired to do subconsciously were not aligned. See, here's the truth that most people don't understand. Affairs are not just about attraction. They are not just about opportunity. They are about what's happening deep inside of you. Behavior is driven by three primary things. Let's break this down for you. The first one is unmet emotional needs. Now, hear me on this and let's be very clear from the get-go. This is not and was not your spouse's fault. Let's get that clear. This also does not justify the affair, your betrayal, not by any means. But many unfaithful spouses, well, you're operating with emotional disconnection, stress overload, loneliness, and a lack of internal coping skills. And instead of turning toward truth, toward God, toward healing, you turn toward escape because that felt better. Having to deal and feel emotional disconnection, having to face the stress overload, having to sit inside of that loneliness, not having the internal healthy coping skills that you need to even do any of this, well, it can feel uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, and it can make you want to escape from it. Thus, you did. So unmet emotional needs can be at the root of some of this. Again, not to justify the betrayal, but to explain the internal processing or lack thereof. Now, here's the second one: false belief systems. You see, underneath every destructive behavior is a belief system. Beliefs like, well, I deserve this. This will make me feel better. No one will find out. This isn't that big of a deal. Maybe it's the belief system of, well, I'm not enough. I don't deserve anything. I'm a failure. Those are even harder false belief systems to deal with. And these beliefs aren't random either. They are often rooted in past wounds, especially identity struggles, unresolved pain, and lies that the enemy has planted in you over time. And these can be very difficult left unaddressed. That's why we go after the deep-rooted false belief systems, because we need to tear them out at the root and replace them with the truth. And often, once again, we see one of the main ones being an identity struggle. Satan is after your identity. He seeks to change it, because if he can change your identity, he's got you. And so that's what he's after. So he wants you to believe the identity of not being enough, of being a failure, all of these things, or the identity of entitlement, right? And so when you take on those things, it can cause you to make very poor choices. And the third one is this: escape patterns. You see, affairs never begin in the bedroom. They begin in patterns of escape. Escape in the sense of avoiding stress, numbing your emotions, maybe seeking validation or chasing temporary relief. And over time, these small compromises build momentum until one day you cross a line you never thought you would. And these are the small, I like to say, these are the small compromises. These escape patterns are your small compromises that lead up to you crossing that moral line. And then once you've crossed it, it's like, well, I've already done it. Why not? Right? And thus the battle ensues. Now, let's just take a moment to look at a little bit of neuroscience here. Let's talk about what's happening in your brain, because this is where things start to make sense. You see, affairs are deeply tied to dopamine-driven behaviors. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical. Thus, it feels good. You know that feeling. It's kind of like a little bit of a high, right? It's like, ooh, that's kind of nice. And it's released when something feels exciting, new, pleasurable, relieving. And here's the problem. Dopamine prioritizes immediate reward over long-term consequences. So in those moments, your brain isn't thinking, what will this do to my wife? What will this do to my marriage? No, it's actually thinking, well, this feels pretty good right now. I kind of like this. I want to stay here. And over time, this actually creates a habit loop. The trigger occurs, something that feels bad occurs, right? So it produces that craving to feel better. Thus, you enter into the behavior, okay? You get temporary relief, and then you repeat the cycle. And the more that loop is reinforced, well, the harder it becomes to break. Why is that? Because it creates a default neurotransmitter neuroplasticity pathway in your brain that you default to. Your brain is like a divot inside of your brain, and your brain goes, yep, that's the easier one to slide down. Let's go down that one because that leads to a great feeling. Instead of going the opposite direction, which is the uphill battle, because you've got to recreate a new neural pathway so that the old one can close down. So that is what is going on inside of that loop. Now, scripture, okay, is another thing we need to look at here, because this isn't just neuroscience. This is actually biblical. Romans 7:15 says, I do not understand what I do. For what I do, or for what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. Now that is the Apostle Paul. He is in the middle of this struggle, and he's describing the exact tension you're feeling. I don't understand what I'm doing right now because I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I don't want to do, and I hate what I'm doing. And this is the war between your flesh and your spirit. You didn't want to lose your marriage. You didn't want to get to this point. That's not what your heart truly desired, but you were operating from a place that was not aligned with truth, identity, or self-control. My husband never wanted to lose a relationship. He didn't think that it would happen. But then when he was actually getting ready to be served with divorce papers, that was when he woke up from the infidelity bubble. The fear of loss, the loss of his wife and his marriage, far outweighed the temporary dopamine hit at that point. He didn't want to lose it. Thus, he knew a change needed to take place. And this is exactly why behavior modification alone does not work. You see, white-knuckling it, promising, oh, I'll never do it again. Boy, did I hear that a lot. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. Or trying harder, right? That does not rewire your brain. That does not heal your heart. It doesn't cause true heart transformation. That's why inside of Marriage Redesigned, we don't just address your behavior. We go after the root beliefs. Those systems that I was talking about earlier, the emotional patterns, the neurological wiring, and the spiritual disconnection. Because when you heal the root, the behavior loses its power. I hope you heard that. I'm going to say it again for you. When you heal the root, the behavior loses its power over you. Now, today, I want to share 3 steps with you to start right now, because it's important to give you something. And if you're the unfaithful spouse and you're listening right now thinking, I don't ever want to be this person again, here are 3 steps you can take immediately. Now, the first one is to step into radical ownership. That means no more defensiveness, okay? None. Healing begins when the excuses end. That means no more minimizing your behavior, no more blaming your spouse, situations, or others, no more justifying anything that you've done, no shifting responsibility. You just say very clearly, I chose this. This was wrong. I hurt you terribly. You see, ownership creates the first layer of safety for your spouse, and safety is where healing is built on. That's what you start. Safety is what healing is built on. You've got to start with safety. So radical ownership is where you start. Second thing is to eliminate every escape route. Remember, you were seeking escape. That's why you kept going that route. You didn't want to feel the awful things, the things you were feeling, or the things that you should have been processing, so you escaped from it. But hear me clearly. You cannot heal what you still have access to. You can't. As long as there's an open door, It makes it easier for you to walk in. So that means cutting off all, and I mean all contact. No social media contact, no text messages, no phone calls, no meetups, nothing, nada. Also, removing all secrecy. It's time to stop the lies. It's time to stop hiding things. It's time to live in honest transparency. That leads me to implementing full transparency. Yes, that seems like living in a fishbowl, but when you're married, there are no secrets in marriage because it'll kill it. So you should be living in full transparency. So you're going to implement that. And then you're going to put accountability in place. Not after the fact, but while you're going through your healing journey. Because healing requires truth, not hidden doors. Here's your third step. Do the root work, okay? Not just behavior control. Okay, no more slapping your wrist with a rubber band and all the things. You're not changing one behavior for another. You're not trying to control the behavior. No, do the deep root work, okay? Because you got to change the root in order for the fruit to change. That's the truth. This is where most people stop and why most people fail. You have to ask yourself, what was I trying to escape? What was it? What lie was I believing? And what emotion didn't I know how to handle? Get real with yourself. It's time to step into authenticity. It's time to look yourself in the mirror and to be honest with yourself. And then replace that lie with truth, God's truth. Learn how to regulate your emotions and rebuild your identity in Christ alone. Because if you don't heal the root, like I said, the fruit will stay the same. The pattern will repeat, even if you change some things. That pattern will creep back up and repeat itself if the root is not healed. Now, if you want to also step a step further and help your wife in her healing journey and to start repairing your marriage, well, understand this. First off, she doesn't need your perfection, okay? It's not about perfection. What she needs is your consistency, okay? And what that looks like is showing up emotionally day in and day out, staying present with her in her pain. I know it feels bad. I get it. But staying with her in that, having empathy, stepping into her shoes, not rushing her healing, responding to her instead of reacting to her, and most importantly, becoming a man she can feel safe with again. That's what she needs. That helps her heal, and it helps to heal your marriage. Now, this is exactly what we do inside of the Marriage Redesigned program. We walk couples just like you through rebuilding safety, rewiring patterns that have been destructive, restoring trust, deep trust within the two of you, and redesigning your marriage from the inside out. This is not about going back to what you had. You can't. The vows have been broken. That marriage is dead. It's over. It needs to be grieved. You need a new covenant, okay? You need a new covenant. This is about building something stronger, healthier, and God-centered. So if you're ready to stop repeating those cycles and start creating real transformation, then below in the show notes, apply for the Marriage Redesigned program today. You've got a little link down there that says Marriage Redesigned. Click on it. It'll get you a free consult with us where we can meet face to face. We can find out where you are. We can talk to you about your possibilities and see if this is a good fit for you, because we want to make sure that you're 100% committed to it, because it is a journey. It's not easy, but for those who really, really dive in deep, that's why they have a 99% success rate. So you have that opportunity today. Grab it while they're still available. And I want you to listen clearly, okay, and carefully right now. You're not beyond redemption, but you are responsible for transformation. And with the right process, the right structure, and God at the center of it all, change is not only possible, it's inevitable for you. He wants you to be completely transformed from the inside out. And that is what He promises when you partner with Him in your healing journey. I pray today bless you, and I pray that you'll reach out to us. So I look forward to meeting you inside of your consult. And until next time, be blessed, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.